Think about your last trip to the bait shop. You walk in, you drop $5 or $6 on a tub of nightcrawlers, and half of them are already tired or dying. You get to the water, the heat finishes off another handful, and you fish with maybe 2 dozen. Next weekend, you do the exact same thing. That is not fishing. That is a subscription to dying worms. But there is a way to never buy live bait again. A one-time setup out of stuff you already throw in the trash that produces fat, lively worms on demand forever. It fits in your garage, your shed, even a closet. No smell if you do it right, almost no maintenance, and after the first setup, your bait is basically free. This is not some complicated science project. Homesteaders and old-timers have done this for generations. And stick around, because there is one single mistake that kills the whole colony in the first 2 weeks, and I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid it. If you fish, subscribe, because we bring back the cheap, buried skills the tackle shops would rather you forget. One quick thing before we start. Free bait is great, but knowing where the fish are and when they feed is what actually fills the cooler. That whole system is inside the angler's vault. It is the first link in the description, and the QR code stays in the corner of your screen the whole video. Tap it or scan it whenever you want. Now let's get into it. Let's be honest about the money first, without the wild exaggerations you see online. A tub of worms runs about $5 to $8. If you fish most weekends through spring and summer, that quietly adds up to real money every single year on bait that dies before you use half of it. And you are right back in line the next weekend to do it again. Now compare that to a worm farm. A plastic tote, some cardboard you already have, and a starter batch of worms for around $20 to $40, one time. After that, the worms feed on your kitchen scraps and multiply on their own. You stop being the customer who pays every weekend, and you become the supplier who never has to. One quick note on how many to start with. You do not need thousands. A pound of European nightcrawlers, or a few hundred red wigglers, is the perfect starter batch for a single bin. And do not overcrowd them. Cramming too many worms into one small bin actually stresses them and slows their breeding down. Start modest and let them fill the space on their own. And here is the part that surprises people. Homegrown worms do not just save money, they flat out fish better. The worms in that store tub were harvested days ago, shipped in bulk, and refrigerated. They arrive stressed and sluggish. When you hook one, it barely moves, and a fish looks at a limp, half-dead worm and passes. Your homegrown worm gets pulled from a healthy bin 30 seconds before it hits the hook. It is fat, and it twists and writhes in the water exactly like living prey. Anglers who farm their own will tell you the fresh ones outfish the tired store-bought ones, and they hold up for more casts before you have to rebait. Fresher bait, more bites, fewer worms wasted. Now the most important decision, and the one most people get wrong. Which worm do you actually raise? Because not all worms farm the same. The big Canadian nightcrawler you see in the cooler is actually hard to breed at home. It needs cool, deep, undisturbed burrows, and it will not thrive in a bin. Chase that one and you will fail. What you want instead is one of two composting worms. The European nightcrawler is the champion for bait. It is a close cousin of the red wiggler. It breeds almost as easily, but it grows big and tough, which makes it the best all-around hook bait you can raise. If you want size and versatility, this is your worm. The other option is the classic red wiggler. It is smaller and thinner, so it is a little harder to get on a big hook, but it breeds like crazy. It is nearly indestructible, and it is deadly on panfish, bluegill, crappie, and trout. Many people run both. Euros for bigger baits, red wigglers for a non-stop panfish supply. Either one turns kitchen scraps into fishing worms.
So let's build it. Step 1. The container.
A plastic storage tote or even a 5-gallon bucket works perfectly. Drill a dozen small holes, about 1/8 of an inch, around the sides near the top for air, and 4 in the bottom for drainage. Worms need to breathe, and they hate sitting in water. And they need a lid, because worms need darkness and will wander toward light. Step 2. The bedding. Tear up plain cardboard and newspaper, no glossy or colored ink, and fill the bin most of the way. This shredded paper is not just filler, it is bedding and a slow food source at the same time. You can mix in a little peat moss or coconut coir if you have it, but honestly, the cardboard from your recycling does the job for free. Step 3. The moisture. Mist the bedding with water until it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Damp, not soaking. Squeeze a handful and you should get a drop or two, no more. Then add your worms right on top. If the moisture is right, they burrow down and disappear in about 30 seconds. If they crawl the walls, it is too wet or too dry. Adjust. Quick thing before the feeding, because this is where almost everyone ruins it. If this is saving you money, hit the like button so it reaches the next angler tired of the bait shop. And point your camera at the QR code or tap the first link below. The Angler's Vault is the gear worth your money and the knowledge that actually catches fish. One payment, yours for life. Now, feeding. And here is the single most important rule in this entire video. When you first set it up, do not feed the worms at all for the first few days. Let them settle in and eat the bedding. Then, and only then, start feeding. And start tiny. A small handful of scraps buried under the bedding is plenty for a new bin. What to feed them is easy. Vegetable and fruit scraps, coffee grounds, crushed eggshells for grit and calcium, even bread and oatmeal. What to avoid is just as important. No citrus, no onions, no meat, no dairy, and nothing oily or salty. Those rot wrong, throw off the balance, and stink. Keep it green, keep it plain, and always bury the food under the bedding. And now the fatal mistake I promised you, the one that kills more bins than anything. Overfeeding. When you dump in too much food too fast, it rots before the worms can eat it. That rotting goes anaerobic, meaning without oxygen, and it produces ammonia gas. Ammonia will wipe out your entire colony almost overnight. People dump in a pile of scraps and wake up to dead worms. The fix is simple. Feed small, and only add more when the last batch is almost gone. It is always easier to fix an underfed bin than an overfed one. If it ever smells bad or looks wet and sludgy, stop feeding, add some dry cardboard, and let it recover. A healthy bin smells like plain earth, nothing more. Patience in the first 2 weeks decides everything. So how do you know your bin is happy? 3 quick checks. It smells like plain, clean earth, never sour or rotten. The worms stay down in the bedding instead of crawling the walls. And the bedding stays dark and damp, like a wrung sponge. Hit those 3, and your farm basically runs itself for years with almost no effort at all. Get past that, and the biology does the rest, because these worms are breeding machines. Every worm is both male and female, so any 2 that meet can reproduce. They lay little cocoons, each one hatching several babies, and a healthy bin can roughly double its population every few months. It genuinely becomes self-sustaining. As you harvest worms out, they simply lay more. One key tip here. When you first add your starter worms, do not fish them for about a month. Let them settle and lay eggs first, so the population explodes before you start pulling bait out. Rush it, and you can thin them out before they ever get going. Give them that head start, and you will have more worms than you can use. One more thing that keeps your farm alive year-round: temperature. These worms cannot survive freezing or blazing heat. In winter, move the bin into a basement, a garage, or anywhere it stays above freezing. In a summer heat wave, keep it out of direct sun and toss in a frozen water bottle to cool it down. Stable and shaded is all they ask. Harvesting is almost stupidly simple. About an hour before you leave for the water, push all the bedding and food to one side of the bin. The worms follow the food and cluster over there. Come back, grab a couple dozen fat ones from that side, drop them in your bait can with a little bedding, and go fishing. The colony refills faster than you can pull them out. And here is exactly why your worms die and the stores do not have to. Heat. On the water, never leave your bait can baking in the sun on the deck. Keep it in the shade, with damp bedding, ideally in a small cooler. That is the same mistake that cooks store-bought worms in your hot car, and it is just as easy to avoid with your own. And when your bin gets crowded, you scale for free. Just split it. Scoop half the worms and bedding into a second container with fresh cardboard, and now you have 2 farms. Split those in a couple months, and you have 4. Some people run several bins and supply their whole fishing buddy list. 2 small bins alone give most anglers effectively unlimited bait. There is even a bonus most people miss. That dark, crumbly material the worms leave behind is worm castings, some of the best natural fertilizer on Earth. Gardeners literally pay for the stuff. So your free bait factory quietly produces free garden fertilizer on the side. Nothing gets wasted, and the whole thing runs on your trash. Quick note on matching the worm to your fishing. For all-around use and bigger fish, reach for the European nightcrawlers. They are meatier and tougher on the hook. For a steady stream of panfish, bluegill, crappie, and trout, the red wigglers are perfect. And keep your bin between about 55 and 80 degrees. They cannot survive freezing or blazing heat, so a garage or basement is ideal. So let's be honest about the bigger picture. The bait industry is not evil, but there is simply no money in teaching you to make bait for free. A tub every weekend is a subscription, and you are the subscriber. This method has been quietly forgotten, not because it stopped working, but because nobody profits from you knowing it. When you depend on the bait shop, you are renting your ability to fish, paying a weekly fee to enjoy your own hobby. When you run your own worm farm, you own it. A one-time afternoon of setup, a little patience, and you have fresh, lively bait on demand for years, while everyone else is still standing in line every weekend. So there it is. Skip the true nightcrawler, raise European nightcrawlers or red wigglers, build a simple ventilated bin, keep it damp like a wrung sponge, feed small and never overfeed, and give them a month to multiply. Do that, and you never buy a tub of dying worms again. The full breakdown, plus the exact rigs that make these worms deadly, is inside the angler's vault. It is the first link below. The QR code is in the corner. Pay once and it is yours to keep. Now tell me down in the comments, what do you spend on bait in a normal month? And if this is going to save you money all season, subscribe, because we dig up the cheap skills the tackle shops forgot. We will see you on the water. And if you want to stop overpaying on the rest of your setup too, watch this next. The 12 cheap Amazon lures everyone ignores that quietly outfish the expensive stuff.